Once again, hi, seventh grade. Our agenda for today is to preview the week, review Monday, and today we're talking about abiotic and biotic factors. So this week looks like this. Yesterday, we're supposed to complete an ed puzzle on what is ecology. It took about 5 to 10 minutes, and it looks like only about half of you have completed the ed puzzle. I can go online and pull a report. Half of you are done. That will go in the gradebook as a practice or homework score on just completion. Eden.
I tried to do it.
All right, so today, that's Tuesday, we will look at abiotic and biotic factors. Wednesday, we're looking at producers. Thursday, consumers. And then Friday, you have a little practice assignment. I will be unavailable Friday as I'll be administering the 8th grade science MCA test. So I gave you a little lighter load on that day. So our new and final digital notebook looks like this. So hopefully you have this in your possession already. I've emailed it to you. It's on our Canvas page. If you don't have it, you need to go and find it like right now. Again, the cover looks like this. Here is our overview. I didn't type up a separate May calendar because it's basically all right here, kind of where we're going for our study of ecology. And then we'll wrap up the year with a little project. Contact information. Again, we've got a study guide for when it comes towards the end of the unit if you like using a study guide. We've got a vocabulary deck. We have videos where you can find videos like today's lesson and other ones to enhance or review the material. And don't forget, we have a textbook. So if you're like, ooh, I'd like to go back and look at that a little bit more, here is the textbook, looks like this. It's called Ecology and the Environment, and you can find it on your My Apps. The standards that we're covering for the remainder of the school year are listed here. Again, Monday's work is what is ecology, an ed puzzle that you needed to complete. It took about 5 to 10 minutes. And today our focus is abiotic and biotic factors. And by the time we wrap up, we want to be able to define and give examples of both abiotic and biotic factors. We're going to start with a brain pop. We'll define a couple of things, and then we're going to watch a second brain pop. So sit back and relax while I take attendance and watch this brain pop. Maybe.
Nothing will stop my diabolical plan to sink Tasmania. Certainly not some woodland rodent.
You may be an evil genius, Dr. Platypus, but let's get one thing straight. Rabbits are not rodents!
Hey, Moby, I think I see a mountain cottontail. This isn't what I meant when I invited you to come rabbit watching with me. Dear Tim and Moby, taking care of my pet bunny, Pebbles, is a lot of work. How do all the rabbits in the forest take care of themselves? From Kira. Aw, look, it's a picture of Pebbles. I don't have a pet rabbit, but I know they need at least a few basic things. A home, food, water, and waste cleanup. Wild rabbits need all that too, but they get it from their ecosystem. A group of living things interacting with each other and their environment. It can include thousands of different species or types of organisms. Here, it's brush rabbits, redwoods, and gray foxes, plus countless species of birds, plants, insects, and microbes. Every individual is part of a population, all the members of the same species that live there. And all of the populations in an ecosystem form its community. Their differences give this ecosystem the power to support so much life. One creature's trash is another's treasure. A problem for one species is an opportunity for another. In ecosystems, living things form a network that provides for each of their needs. You're right, the environment's really important too. You'll never find rabbits living underwater. Like all organisms, they need the right habitat or place to live. Somewhere with air to breathe and land to hop around. Their habitat also has to include other living things, like grasses to munch and bushes to hide in. Those organisms help rabbits survive. Other creatures in the community make it harder. Yeah, that word, community, can make it sound like everyone's looking out for each other. They're not. Up close, individuals are often fighting one another for survival. But this struggle helps keep the ecosystem as a whole stable. If every individual survived and reproduced, populations would keep growing endlessly. Which doesn't happen because resources like space and water are limited. Ecosystems force species to make the most of what's available. Their success depends on how effectively they can use the living and non-living things in their habitat. This activity defines the species' role or niche in an ecosystem. Well, niches fall into three big categories, and they all have to do with food. First up, producers. They make their own food, usually with energy from sunlight. Producers are the power plant of every ecosystem, whether on land or at sea. They bring in energy, and organisms throughout the ecosystem use it up. On land, most producers are plants. They use most of the energy they get from sunlight to live, grow, and reproduce. And they store the rest of it in their bodies. When a bunny eats a plant, it gets some of that leftover energy. Since rabbits have to eat or consume other organisms to survive, they're called consumers. If a fox eats a bunny, then it gets some of the energy the bunny got from plants. So, all the energy in ecosystems ultimately comes from the sun. Nah, bunnies and foxes do a lot more than just consume. When rabbits eat plants, they can help spread that plant's seeds. When foxes eat other animals, they leave some scraps behind. Those scraps become food for scavengers, like certain insects. And whatever's left goes to my personal favorites, the decomposers. This group includes fungi, like mushrooms, and many microbes, like bacteria. For them, food is dead stuff and poop. Decomposers break all that down and return the nutrients to the environment. If it weren't for them, nasty stuff would just pile up, like if you'd never cleaned your rabbit's litter box. Decomposers recycle the matter back into the soil, water, and air. Yeah, it's weird to think about. Living and non-living things are made of the same ingredients, just rearranged. These ingredients move around different parts of the planet in cycles. Like, you've probably heard of the water cycle. It's how water moves between the sky, earth, and living things. Trillions of gallons of water are stored in the world's organisms. Another key ingredient for living things is a material called carbon. It moves through the living and non-living parts of Earth too, through the carbon cycle. Organisms use carbon to build their bodies. That's why we say life is carbon-based. When organisms die, decomposers break them down and return that carbon to the environment. In the air, carbon is usually found in a molecule called carbon dioxide. Animals breathe out CO2, and plants suck it in. But lately, this natural balance has been thrown off by one animal: humans. Things like cars, planes, and factories release tons of CO2, more than plants can suck in. Carbon is building up in the air, leading to all kinds of problems. Average temperatures are rising worldwide, and weather is becoming more violent and unpredictable. This shakeup in long-term weather patterns is called climate change. It's a signal that humans are using more resources than the planet can sustainably support. We're just one part of the global ecosystem, and resources are limited. We still depend on nature for clean water, breathable air, pollination for our crops. So far, technologies like energy production and agriculture have helped us keep thriving. But they've also put enormous stress on other species and their habitats. Ecosystems do a whole lot for us. We ought to take care of them, too. Rabbits are strictly terrestrial. How many times do I have to...
So now we're going to define some terms. So if you would please, in your digital notebook, Victoria's having a lot of fun. Thanks, Victoria. Write down our three definitions. So an ecosystem is a biological community of interacting organisms and their physical environment. So now we're on this page of our digital notebook. Again, we're writing down these definitions. A biological community of interacting organisms and their physical environment. It's different than a biome, which is defined as a collection of plants and animals that have common characteristics for the environment that they exist in. And then the final thing you have to jot down are what are examples of biomes. And that includes things like this aquatic biome that's pictured here, grasslands or savannas, different types of forests, deserts, and tundra. When you're done writing down these three things, if you want to raise your hand, so I know you're ready for brain pop number 2. All right, we will come back to this slide after we watch brain pop number 2. I've got a couple people still working on definitions. Again, we'll come back to these in a minute, but here's brain pop number 2 about biomes. This one's much shorter, just about 3 minutes.
Dear Tim and Moby, what biomes are found in Utah? From Uziel. No, a biome. A biome is an interdependent system of plants and animals and land. Sort of a large region with similar ecosystems. Factors like temperature, rainfall, and altitude all determine what type of plant and animal life a biome can support. Just for the record, according to this map, Utah consists mainly of the desert biome. There are countless species of plants and animals living on Earth. Each of them has evolved to become specially adapted to its environment. Well, if you move an animal out of its biome, it might not survive. It's the same with plants. I've always wanted to have a pet kangaroo, but they just don't live where we do. So, here they are, the biomes of Earth. Tropical rainforests are found in areas along the equator. With over 150 centimeters of rainfall each year, they're humid and hot. Vines and trees form a lush jungle that's home to half the planet's species. Grasslands, or savannas, are found in areas like Central Africa. This biome is warm all year, but it has a rainy season and a dry season. It doesn't have many trees, and it has lots of, well, grassland, surprisingly enough. Temperate forests are found in areas of mid-latitude. They have moderate rain and 4 seasons. Oak and maple trees grow here, and the soil is very fertile. Deserts only get about 25 centimeters of rain each year on average. They're hot all day and cold at night. Subarctic taiga has cool summers and cold winters. Evergreen trees grow here, and the soil is rocky. It's really cold all the time in the tundra. The soil is frozen all year round, so not much can grow besides lichen and moss. These biomes weren't always where they are today. 100,000 years ago, icy glaciers covered most of North America. And long before that, it was covered by a shallow sea. These changes take thousands of years, so the plants and animals have the time they need to adapt. But they don't have that kind of time anymore. Humans are quickly cutting down trees, throwing up buildings, and polluting water. Without the proper habitat to support them, dozens of species are going extinct every day. Yeah, right? If people knew how fast forests can disappear, they might think twice before messing with our environment. What? No! I don't care if there's a sale. I'm not going.
All right, let's close this out. All right, if you did not get all of these definitions, do you want to take a quick screen capture of this, please? Again, what is an ecosystem? What is a biome? And then examples of biomes. The next page in our digital notebook looks like this, and we're going to attack the learning target for today, being able to define and give examples of biotic factors and abiotic factors. We'll start with biotic factors. Biotic factors are living components in an ecosystem. So again, you're in your digital notebook and you're writing down living components in an ecosystem. So examples of biotic factors include things like protists, which are those one-celled organisms we studied before, plants, animals, fungi, and bacteria. When you're done writing down the definition and examples, please insert an image that you can find online to help you remember what a biotic factor is. Bio, the prefix bio means life, living components in an ecosystem. Here's an image that I found online that I liked, and it also talks about the three kind of main groups of biotic or living things: producers, consumers, and decomposers. If biotic are the living things of an ecosystem, the prefix a means not. So these are the non-living things in an ecosystem. Non-living things in an ecosystem. Examples of abiotic factors include water, soil, air, light, minerals, and temperature. And like before, please find an image and insert it into your notebook. Here's the picture that I found. All right, moving right along. Here, let's look at this ecosystem. We've got kind of like a little pond maybe. And in the chat, if you would please respond with some examples of biotic factors. So try to write something unique. What are biotic factors you see in the scene? Things that are alive. I'm going to try to be as specific as possible. So some examples might be cattails, grass, like these tall kind of marshy grasses, regular grass, daisies, turtles, a dragonfly, some different fish. Looks like there might be one of those insects that walk on water there. Water lilies, frogs and toads, raccoons. Maybe these are, I don't know, dandelions up here. A deer, an eagle, some pine trees, ladybugs, and these are ferns. Now try to list abiotic factors, things that are not alive in the picture. All right, I see some good things. The temperature, the sun, the water. I saw like little oxygen bubbles it looked like here. So I said oxygen, maybe the soil or those rocks. Good, you guys. All right, so now I'm going to stop recording again. Recording. All right, so that concludes our information for today. Again, our learning target was looking at abiotic and biotic factors. For tomorrow, you're going to look at producers. Our learning target will be to describe and give examples of producers. There's a video included, I think it's about 6 or 7 minutes long, a nice picture of photosynthesis, because photosynthesis has to do with organisms that are able to produce their own food, obviously. And then there's a little page that looks like this. Again, another name for producers are autotrophs. Many bacteria are autotrophs, as are algae and all green plants. So you may want to jot some things down about these different things. You could find pictures to help you remember things about them. Again, autotrophs are things that are able to make or produce their own food. So our to-do list looks like this. Make sure your Ed puzzle is completed. If you're having difficulty with that, send me an email and see if I can help problem shoot that with you. And then tomorrow's topic is producers or autotrophs. There's a video and then some questions or things to define. You are free to go. I will see you back on Zoom on Thursday.
Ms. Mizurako,